Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Critscast. We have another grand final for you, as we are going to be covering the UGC European Highlander Season 33 Platinum Grand Final. This is the best teams in UGC facing against each other, and believe it or not, they were the two best teams in ETF12 last season as well. In one corner, we have the defending champions, Super Dickmann's KANNONEN, and facing them are the challengers, the perennial challengers every single time it seems, Feila eSports.
Hopefully we're in for a very, very exciting game. Coming into kind of the first map, it's going to be Upward. Following that, we've got Lakeside, and then if we go to Decider, it'll be a Borneo. Stopwatch matches is going to be played best of 3.
We are live here. This is, if you're just joining us, the Season 33 Platinum Grand Final of the European UGC Highlander Division. Top seed Super Dickmann's KANNONEN are facing against Feila eSports. We'll be seeing if both of these teams are former champions, but SDCK do have the edge. They are the current ETF World Champions as well, and this is a repeat of that ETF World final we saw a number of weeks ago. I'm CJ, joined by Dave, and Wiethoofd is on the production. Dave, you were just saying about the pick bans there. We saw SDCK get rid of product, and we saw Feila get rid of Swiftwater. I think both of these teams have a style they like. SDCK love the payload. Feila, not so much. They love the Koth. And that's why they've got rid of one of these maps. But SDCK, being the higher seed, have that extra map pick, and you know we have the potential for two best of threes on payload maps tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we just want to quickly run down the rosters for blue team SDCK, we've got May, Jackie Legs, Yahoo, Murphy, Poker, Clark, Degu on Medic, Ball the American on Sniper, and Mezzo on Spy.
Yeah, on Feila eSports, we are going to be having BB on Scout, Satan on Soldier, Grit on Pyro. On Dickmann will be Joe, Heavy is Dick Sauce, on Engineer is Wambert, on Medic is Layla, Sniper will be Kuroi, and on Spy will be Axio. So a few names, a few changes there from the players we saw in the TF12 final. Feila in particular, a couple of different players. Poker playing for SDCK, Borg playing Sniper. So that first kind of suicide wave doesn't really get anything done though, Dave. 5 players down there for SDCK, and Feila not losing a single player or their Sentry or their Uber.
No force, no frags. Mezzo did manage to get behind and get that teleporter, but I think Wamba is on the that kind of space range, so I think he's going to be able to go back and.
Did you see where his
perhaps.
Sentry was?
No, I didn't.
It was up on the cliff where Satan is right now. That's a position that you used to see Americans use way back a long time ago. I don't know if they still do, but very, very interesting. Maybe they're trying some different strats here, and it seemed to work out. But at the moment, only casualty for the side of Feila is Axio. Everyone is fragging out, especially Kuroi on a 5-kill streak right now. And yeah, I mean, SDCK not really getting any opening picks. They've got nothing to work with here, really, other than that teleporter and sentry kill, which, like you said, on that space wrench is going to be up pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a little duty going around Mezzo, and Wamba is teleporting back and forth, being able to protect his sentry spot. We do see a force come out now. In fact, it was a little bit of a trade here. Feila very much getting better of it. They have lost a couple of players. Satan and Dixos go down. Joe go down very, very low as well. He's healed up now though, so you know, so many frags going in Feila's favour. I don't think there is going to be much of a repush attempt, but now with a couple of players getting picked up by the mini sentry from Clark, that's opened up a lot of frags here, and the spawns are going to be coming in better for SDCK.
Yeah, the spawns are better. It didn't look like they deserved to win that. You know, they only got 2 kills. One of the kills was from the Sniper, Ball taking down the Heavy, and everyone else just seemed to die on SDCK. They even lost Gedu, so he's at about a 50% disadvantage rather on terms of Uber, and that's why there's so much aggression. Kuroi with the air headshot onto Jackie Legs. Joe is so aggressive, takes down Ball. Kuroi's on an 8-kill streak. He has not died yet. Takes down Yahoo on the Pyro there. And with this huge ad, 50% ad here, SDCK going to have to try and get a force. Layla does force Murphy. Well played jumping up on the high ground there, lobbing a couple of stickies in her direction. BB's going to start clearing up players. Genya goes down to Kuroi. No one can stop him right now. He is just clicking head after head, and he backs up to the heels, and SDCK are back to square one.
Wow, Kuroi. I mean, there've been kind of talk about him being like this little bit inconsistent, a little bit hit and miss. But it seems whenever you're casting him, CJ, he really goes on a mad one. I remember that shot, that airhead shot he got on product 3 weeks ago, and today he's really on fire. 10k now for Kuroi.
Double figures. Double figures. I mean, he popped off in the grand final in TF2, right? And he's now dominating Ball, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest snipers to have played this game, especially probably the best in America, and he's getting dominated on right now. Kuroi with 20 points. Closest to anyone on the server is Layla with 14. He's on an 11 kill streak right now. Maybe did have that struggling season when Feila got essentially relegated, but last season definitely stepped up and showed he is someone to be reckoned with, as he's actually getting the 3 kill. SDCK are just crumbling here. They're just losing so many players in each exchange. And I don't know whether it's just lack of coordination or, you know, Feila of just winning the DM fights. But at the moment, Feila just don't look like they're going to be bullied out of this.
Yeah, they definitely... SDCK haven't really got started here. Like, I don't think either team had the warm-up. We now see kind of Force coming out. Decent force that was from Jackie Legs getting in there. It's going to be a little bit of a trade, in fact, but there's really no players around Degu, so they're not going to be able to get much aggression on the back of this. Clark goes in and gets Layla somehow in the back lines. Clark doing a lot of work. He got those crucial frags on that first point, and now on the second point again picking up Layla. Just one up now for Feila, just one, but picks his sentry back. He's going to be able to get that back to third, but the second gap is going to come in for SDCK much slower than they would have wanted, however.
I mean, it's just kind of like a switch there, isn't it? It just gets flipped somehow. Feila just looking like the rock that cannot be moved, and then all it takes is that force from Jackie Legs and Clark following up and getting the kill onto Layla, and then everyone else just collapses, and it's just, you know, singing from the same song sheet, as it were. And SDCK are now pushing on to third, although Kuroi's getting a couple of kills. He's died, has to redo his kill streak. He's up to 2 already, taking down Murphy, taking down Yahoo. But SDCK now with the huge Uber advantage. Jackie Legs just surfing that sentry all the way around, getting some cap time, and the Uber's going to come in really deep here. They take down the sentry, they're on the chase, and Layla not in a great position, but she does manage to survive. Joe doesn't though, neither does Dixel, so they're down the combo here, and it's not looking too good.
Yeah, it looked like Grip timed out just as that Uber came in, and that Pyro is so important at that third point. For some reason, Feila decided they didn't want to go up for a pause. I assume Grip's going to be coming in shortly, but now with complete control for SDCK of this third point, it's going to be like almost impossible for any kind of repush happening. They are going for it though. Joe is taking the Uber quite deep. They're going to pick up the heavy. Degu's caught. He's absolutely smashed in that little banana area. Excellent play here from Feila. They've got a lot of frags, but they have lost players, so now the SDCK repush can come in, and it's May and Yahoo going in, picking up Layla, and the car is moving the whole time.
Yeah, that's the thing. This car has not stopped moving, and the problem with the positioning there, you saw how far back Feila were. They had to push out from main on last. They had the huge Uber advantage, and that's literally on a knife edge. They can either just chill on last with the Uber advantage and just work from there, or try and block. And they try and block. It didn't work because they went for the combo. They just ignored the flank, and the flank just just pushed the car and cleaned up afterwards. Jackie Legs meanwhile takes down Layla and Joe. He is starting to turn things on as his ball takes down 3, 4. Getting the kills now, and Feila are getting absolutely rocks here. They've even got 4 alive. Wamba does have that sentry there. Level 3 in the window on the high ground. Jackie Legs jumps up, isn't able to get it though. Sentry also takes down Meza, so that car has stopped in its tracks. Finally, Poker does get it by peeking on the stairs. And things are starting to stabilize a little bit, but huge Uber advantage for Gedu again, Dave. They can just push in.
Yeah, they're not looking as clinical as you usually expect to see from SDCK, but they have bowed their time a little bit. They're waiting for this Uber advantage. Looks like they're going to opt to go under with it. Jackie Legs is up there nicely. They're really waiting around here. May goes down to a snipe, but the Uber comes in now.
Grip and Satan doing a little jump from spawn into the window and just getting around into a position where they can collapse on the combo afterwards, which is what they're doing. They do lose Layla there. They're getting on board, not where they want to be, getting caught behind the enemy team, and Dixos and Satan there just combining to manage to kind of just hold the high ground still, but SDCK have got the faster respawns. Here comes Jackie Legs, that's one down. Satan is hiding around the corner, he's going to get taken down as well, and this is not looking good for Feila. They have the sentry up, but they're very, very passive.
Yeah, they did lose control of that upper row, and now they're pinned back into their spawn. A bit desperate attempts going in. Jackie Legs, big bomb. Layla will get picked up. Nice rocket there from Jackie Legs. Does he get Joe? Not quite, but the cart is still moving. Joe on the sliver of HP, having to rain down stickies onto the cart, will opt to go back into spawn, and a load of players go down for SDCK. It's only Boar up in this boxes area. A little bit of cap time here from Mezzo, and Jackie Legs now on the cart.
Yeah, they're holding on here, and you know the fact that Joe didn't die to Jackie Legs. I mean, he took down 3, he needed the 4th and didn't quite get it. Karoy is alive, he's on a 5 kill streak again. The Matt 6 kill streak as he takes down Murphy. He has just been clicking heads non-stop. He is absolutely dominating right now, and he's the person keeping them in. It's such a passive hold here from Feila. They have to until the respawns. Boar does take down Layla though, and now look at all the players swarming onto the car. They're trying to get that cap time as push it over the edge. No, Joe is alive. The stickies. BB is physically blocking the car as well. Gedu is in main with Murphy. Finally, they're starting to get some kills here on the players blocking the car, but there are still people alive, including Grip, who jumps onto that car. There's just buying second after second here, Dave.
Yeah, they can't deal with Joe up top. Now the Uber is coming in, Jackie Legs. He does take up Joe, breaks on the ground, and now with no cart to know, SDCK do push it in, but it's 9 minutes and 43 seconds. That's quite a slow time at this level.
It's a very slow time at this level. I even think that the fact that what we see sometimes is a bit of a slow start from SDCK, and I would even argue from top tier teams, a bit of a slow start when they play a payload, getting into the rhythm, getting used to their opponents. And the issue is though, Dave, from my point of view, often it's on the defense. You know, they'll get capped fairly quickly, SDCK, and then they'll come out on their attacking round and they'll just dominate. They'll just steamroll through. If you start on the attack and you're posting that sort of bad time, that's going to give Feila a lot of hope. For those of you just joining us, welcome. You're joining the Season 33 Grand Final. I believe we have had the in-game notification from TF2. This is the top tier of UGC action. This is the Platinum Division, the 2 top teams in Europe at the moment. SDCK are the current ETF World Champions and defending UGC Champions. Feila eSports runners-up in both of those multiple times, trying to dethrone the Kings at the moment. And it's going well for them. Feila holding off SDCK on their defensive phase for quite some time. Now we're seeing if they, in the blue, are able to beat the time, which is 9:40. Big bomb in from Joe already, Dave. He's going all, but he's doing the Kado. He's jumping in behind.
Absolutely, this is what he's known for. There is a scout that wants to go for him, but he is going to be able to take out that teleporter. In the meantime, Mezzo has also been picked up by BB, but we don't see too much kind of action happening in the background. Poker has gone down for SDCK, so there's quite a lot of denial. Obviously, they're worrying about Joe being behind a little bit in terms of kind of those 5 players coming in, but now with no heavy, sack wave possibility is much more open, but they're just looking to take it in aggressive.
Yeah, they just want to go in. Gedu's actually on the high ground. He's not in a good position right now and actually has to use his Uber. He flashes Mezzo, the spy, and this is just not good. They're down on the ground. They don't have a level 3 sentry up. They don't have an Uber. Layla has not used hers. She does now. Use it onto Joe. She's going to start chasing with BB. Poker's hiding though. He takes so much of the attention of that Uber. That might buy enough time for the rest of his team to escape, but they're deciding not to, Dave. Gedu is being chased by BB. He gets cleaned up. He stayed in for far too long there. Boar gets headshot by Karoy, who has just been unstoppable so far this game. Grip just getting kill after kill. And it's not looking good for SDCK right now.
Layla's on so low health, my bird's death, but does get extinguished. Yahoo was going for a desperate last-ditch play to try and pick up Layla to salvage something, but it didn't quite come off. We saw SDCK, the Uber came in from Feila and SDCK. They didn't lose enough frags. Big bomb here from Satan. So many frags again. Just 3 up briefly for SDCK. Deku does get out on 36%, but Layla has built so much better this time. It's a big advantage, and they're all the way back to 3rd now already.
Yeah, and that's a mistake. That's a really big mistake from SDCK. They should know the fact that Gedu died on 1st, Layla surviving means huge advantage for Feila, and Joe even gets the entire flank with the sticky trap there. They should have just backed out onto 3rd and been prepared to build up an Uber there. The fact that they lost so many players, it's given so much space. Dixos is already in the corner there. Poker does win the fight. He's going to lose the trade-off with Grip. And, Feila may be going a little bit too fast, too keen here. As we often see, the cart is nowhere near, and they actually kill a bunch of players. The Uber gets nothing, the counter Uber comes in, Layla will get cleaned up. Look where the cart is, Dave. Nowhere near the bridge there. And again, we see this time after time when playing Payload. People get a little bit too eager after having an advantage on 2nd, but they forget how long that track is and how long it takes to get all the way there. And Feila just jump in the gun there, Dave.
Yeah, that's one of the saddest Ubers I've ever seen. Flashing all their players through a choke point into a pyro that's fully buffed, ready for them. And once they got through the pyro, eventually the demo then gets dropped to the sentry gun. All the players get cleaned up. Great repush from SDCK to pick the players up. We have seen the cart moving a little bit here for SDCK. They're a little bit more passive than you would usually expect to see. Cart with the sentry far back. So the cart is being moved quite well here from Feila, BB especially. But yeah, again, we see Feila don't even have much of a disadvantage with Layla going down, so both teams are up at Uber. The cart is moving along. SDCK really not contesting the cart whatsoever. They need to step the game up right now.
Absolutely. And the fact that Feila did that old strat of just pushing the tracks, Jackie Legs and May though just combining there to clean up the players on the cart, stop that cap time from going down. He even gets a little cheeky flash there from Gedu, and then Jackie jumps in. Will he get Layla? She's very weak. 1 rocket's all it takes. 1 rocket is all it eventually took. 6 kill streak, and that was huge from Jackie. It just goes to show, letting that cart roll forward, maybe not the best, but when you've got a demo man with heals and a sniper on the tracks, very hard for your flank to contest it without any sort of support. So they have to play that passive style, and Jackie Legs and May just combining really well there to make sure the cart didn't go any further. Allows us to get a little more aggressive, but boy, takes down Boar. So again, they're pushing tracks here, Dave.
Yeah, this is a little bit more what we expect to see from SDCK. Clark did briefly have his sentry gun up front and centre, but yeah, the tracks push from Feila is really paying dividends for them right now. We see Kuroi in prime position on the cart itself, and SDCK really far back. They only lost a couple of players here, but I guess with no demo man, no Murphy there, both Poker and Clark solo. Clark now picked up. There's really no kind of denial there for them on the cart. He is going to come down through on the 3rd point. Yahoo going for a little bit of a play here, picks up Joe. Yahoo's kind of a solo play. It's very messy right now, CJ.
It is. That's exactly the word for it. It is messy. You would have thought with the amount of players that they lost, they would have got the force out of Layla, but it doesn't happen. She still has 100%, Getty only at the 40%. They are attempting somewhat to hold the high ground here. Getty was with Murphy. They have to be careful. They're going to come in from behind. Getty has to jump out of the window, back out to spawn. Will live here, dodging those rockets, but look at the high ground attained. Actually Getty goes down to Kuroi, so the sniper just manages to take down the medic. And with no NG, no sentry, no demo, it's going to be really hard for SDCK to hold this. The cart is still in the doorway, but it's going to take some clutch plays here from Boar and Yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo is again going for a solo player load behind, but the spawns are completely locked down here. Clark is having to jump off the high ground, but he's only got that little shotgun. Can't deny the cart. He does go in for Feila. That's 1 round for Feila now. This is obviously a best of 3, as we say, but yeah, Feila 1-0 up, very dominating so far. And how is this for a story? It seems Ball was very much struggling, isn't able to play the remainder of this fixture, and who do we see coming back to replace him? It looks like it's Kazarok.
Oh. And it's not. It's actually Proki. He is a former ETF2 finalist, Premiership finalist with Feila. So he played a lot of games with them. But we are on to the second round now. This is the second round of Upward. So being a best of 3, if Feila eSports win this round of Upward, they'll take the first map and we'll be moving over to Lakeside. If SDCK win it, on the other hand, then we'll be going into what's basically a golden cap round, a deciding round to see who will take the map. We're swapping the sides, so it will actually be Feila attacking first, and SDCK will be trying to beat their time later on. They'll be defending in the red first. Proki coming in, Dave. Experienced sniper, how do you feel about that?
Well, he's someone who's kind of been this sub for SDCK for a bunch of seasons now. Ever since I think he left Feila, I think it was, he has kind of been playing with SDCK off and on. But just coming in as a sub, very very reliable, very very experienced, canny gamer. So I think he's perhaps the best option. With Kaza as skilled as he is someone who you don't always know if his mindset is in the right place. But yeah, Porky is someone who's kind of super reliable for them. He's played several times for them UGC this season, I believe. So perhaps we'll be able to keep up with Karoi a little bit better because Ball was very very much struggling.
Let's see how it goes, and whether Joe actually going for something different this time, not going behind, going for the teleport and the spawn camp, going for the many says gets a little bit of damage onto Gedu, but not enough to make him force that Uber. But just see how much damage is down on the Feila place. It's just not getting cleaned up though. May is down. Big jump in from Joe again. He's going to go behind this time. So this time he's going to go for the teleporter and maybe go for the spawn camp. May is going to be the one in the spawn queue, so we'll have to see how that 1v1 works out. But there we go. Proki starting to get a couple of kills. It's on a 2-kill streak, warming up. And Karoi yet to get a point on the board, so maybe we'll have to see their battle soon. Clark getting showdown with the Wrangler.
Wow. I don't know if you saw that. Joe landed perfectly on Degu and then just a little flare gun, I believe it was, from grip, perfectly angled into that dispenser. Does get the force out. Layla's now sitting pretty on 100%. I mean, it's interesting from Joe that he went for that sack play. He could have spawn camped May if he'd really fancied it. I guess the scout isn't necessarily the easiest class to spawn camp, but coming in with a big bomb, getting the force out, now we're looking at 100% for Feila.
100% for Feila. Again, they use it very, very early on, and Yahoo is pushing them back. Oh, this Uber is terrible. They flashed 4 or 5 people, and they've actually made negative ground. They backed up. Yahoo just completely denying it there. Proki does die, and Yahoo died due to that sort of sacrifice play. They lose poker very late on, actually. I was going to say this may give them the opportunity to hold on to second a little bit, but Jacket X bombs in. Dixos will trade with him as Murphy cleans up the kill, but Uber advantage for Gedu. SDCK may be thinking they have to use this to hold on to second, or they're going to have to back onto third, because Feila are all over this point already.
Yeah, Feila very, very aggressive, as if they're not respecting the kind of Uber advantage here. He's going to come in on Yahoo. There's no scout there. May is very, very weak. He does get flashed up. Joanne and Grip both go down. Layla's just about out there, so low. We don't see Mezzo lurking around this time. And May going deep as well, but Layla will just about survive this. And so many players have gone down for SDCK. I mean, we talked about the final from a few weeks back, but this looks like a completely different story to what we were consistently seeing there. In Layla this time escaping every time, and SDCK crumble. Now see Mezzo not even getting a frag there at the end of the day, so the second point comes down, and 100% for Layla.
I was watching Satan during all of that. He got a cheeky little air shot onto Murphy there with the direct hit, and he turned around and Gedu was there, but because it was the direct hit, he missed like 3 shots. Eventually gets it. Oh no! The air blast! Layla is just sent flying off the map. Yahoo with the absolutely perfectly timed air blast. She goes absolutely flying, and that Uber is totally wasted. And SDCK once again have Yahoo to thank for denying an Uber, and this time he just takes it out of the game. Starting to pick things up. Joe going into the side house there, but isn't going to get anything done. He gets taken down by Murphy. The cart is being pushed, but look at the aggression now. Now that Joe isn't there to keep the spam off, Karoy is trying to watch it. They're just focusing the cart here, Dave, but they're still pushing. I don't know why SDCK aren't stopping him.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, it's a bit weird again. I mean, that Uber went so far in there, I think there must have been some stickies involved with just how high it went. But again, SDCK not doing their trademark aggression. Uber is coming in now, Jackie Legs hitting every rocket, picking up crucial frags. But again, a little bit of a crumble in the backlines here for SDCK. Clark, Poker, May, Mezzo all down. Feila opted to put those heals onto the car. It looks like they're going to get the third cap quite easily here. And really for SDCK, they're giving up so much ground. You're not used to seeing this.
I'm being told it wasn't an air blast, it was actually stickies, so I apologise for my behaviour, giving credit to the wrong player. Yahoo though, 7 HP, finds a health pack. This high ground is being held at the moment by May and Mezzo. Not two players who really want to try and hold the high ground, but it's giving them time to have a bit of a passive hold here. Sentry is up and Layla drops to May.
It looks like May went in for a big flank here. Do you see a little bit of control here of the upper area? Just Jackie Legs fighting. Grip gets picked up by Porky, so absolutely no one in the upper area right now. Axio is going to move slowly towards it. The car is moving nicely here, but the players are up now for SDCK. It's really up to them whether they want to commit, and it looks like that's what they're going for.
They want to come in. They're using the Uber in through main. They're trying to clean up. Layla is running. May is on the chase. He smells blood in the water. Karoy and Joe are there for company and will stop their medic from dying. But basically, because she wasn't healing, it's equal Ubers. Back to where we were before. Murphy does die. He's in the respawn queue for another 10 seconds, but I think that's going to be a little bit of stability now for SDCK. They need it. 4 minutes and 12 seconds for the first 3 points is very fast. Look at Joe. He's just walking in. He's going to get gunned down by Poker. Grip tries to go for a flare jump around the corner into the window. It doesn't quite work. And there we go. Broke his Highlander bullet firmly into his skull. And Layla also died to Poker. So Poker doing these flanking plays we know he likes to do. Cleaning up some kills. Will get finished off by Axio. But I think he's done his job there.
Yeah, well, you say it was a flank, but he literally just peeked out of that kind of front stairs area. You kind of expect pressure to come in from that area, but he picks up Dick Sauce, he wasn't ready for it, and then Layla as well. Big frags, and now we do see control here for SDCK. Really, for the first time this match, they've got a kind of defense going here. They have complete control of this upper area. I think it's really up for Feila that we might see something along the lines of like a 7-man sack that you're used to seeing at this level.
Why 7? Why not 8? Why not 8? Why not just send the entire team?
Well, yeah, you need one player with your medic, right?
I mean, I'm just saying, Feila have done some crazy strats. Who knows whether they're going to up things. Gedu going down to about 35 HP there and not... Okay, he uses now as they're trying to... get some. Actually, Gedu is all alone on the high ground. This is awful. You hate to see it as a medic, where you have an Uber, you use the Uber, and there's no gamers around you. And Layla not getting killed or forced there has 100% in the bank. 3 players down for SDCK right now, and it looks like Joe and Layla want to take this high ground. Yahoo is there. He's going to perfectly deny this Uber with the air blast, just pushing them down the stairs. Oh my word! Just the Uber just does absolutely nothing. He may as well just stand and taunt right there because his job is done. May cleans up Layla. Only 4 players left alive for the SDCK though, as the rest of the gamers for Feila are starting to clean up their 1v1s.
Yeah, with no Murphy in that front stairs, they were able to walk in it very clearly, both the Pyro and the Heavy. And now we see Poco has somehow got himself back into that upper area, sneaking under. Clean up on the cart as well by Yahoo and Murphy, I believe. So a little bit of a reset once more. Kind of a little bit chaotic here. Oh, the air blast coming so close. Digu will go down though. Joe traps him out. Now no medic for SDCK. But Feila are they're trying to take the upper area again and move the cart. They're nowhere near that Uber, but they have so many frags now, CJ.
They do, and kind of the plays the clutch plays you're expecting aren't coming in. You know, Mezzo goes down, May goes down, Layla does die to Brokey, and there's some cap time on the car here, and they're trying to block it, but is it going to be enough? No, BB and Grip getting in 8:20. It's still a fairly long time, but not as long as SDCK's in the first round. So SDCK are going to be looking at themselves and saying, hey, things aren't going well for us, but you know, this is not a bad time for us to try and beat. We can probably do this and level things up, but Feila will be like, hey, as long as we do what we did last time on defense, then we'll be going on to the second map.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we are seeing perhaps the start of a little bit of a momentum change here. Like, it was so fast for Feila those first 3 points, but you know, all that really, I think perhaps nearly 5 minutes of that time on that last point. So it's really up to Feila, you know, if they can get themselves back in the gear we saw at the very, very start of the game, or have it SDCK in fact warmed up a little bit now, and you know, are looking to really get that kind of formidable steamroller that we often see from them going.
Absolutely. I mean, I think maybe you were talking at the start, Feila have been scrimming a lot, maybe a little bit more active in what is essentially an off-season for ETF2L. You know, the ETF2L season is finished and gamers don't really play as much when it's just UGC, whereas Feila are maybe having to shake off a little bit of that rust. They have a different combo set up with Poker instead of Sandburn, you know, getting back used to how things were before, and I feel like that would normally not be that much of an issue when the big plays come in from the likes of Mezzo and May and Jackie Lakes, but these plays aren't coming in as much as we normally would see. I mean, you remember the ETF12 final, Mezzo got like 10 med picks on one map, like he was just going absolutely ham, but Feila just seemed to be a little bit more organised and denying those plays. So the sacrifice plays come in, they don't get anything again, and we saw this in the first round, Dave.
Yeah, that was a very, very impressive kind of wall around that kind of playground area we saw the scout on the high ground, the heavy denying everything. The sack play from SDCK is so formidable. You know, whenever we see it, it seems to work. But today it's just not quite there. I don't know if Feila have perhaps finally worked it out after losing so many times in finals. But the Uber now comes in. The heavy goes so weak. Murphy gets a little bit of damage down, but the counter Uber from Feila looks much better here, and I think Yahoo's going to get cleaned up as well.
Yeah. I always feel like going in dry over the top, not always the best option. It gives you so much work to do in the fight afterwards, and you have to use so early. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, Murphy is dead, so that's a lot of spam potential, but Joe goes down to Mezzo. That is actually huge, and Grip goes down. Mezzo with the double kills. These are the huge plays that we were talking about. Taking away Demo and Pyro on this point is essentially just, you know, racing your hands and say, okay, we go second. And Kuroi is also dead, getting cleaned up by May. So here we go. Now Poker takes down Dixor. Satan is trying to hide. BB is also there. Maybe they can get a bit of a play going on. Axio with the backstab onto Murphy. So no Demo holding this corner. Joe on the respawn is going to be wanting to contest this, and Yahoo has it all to have to deal with, and he can't deal with the combination.
I don't know how close you saw that was there from Mezzo, getting right onto the back of Layla's neck there. Could probably smell her kind of neck hairs there, but cleaning her up just about. Just about. So Layla will survive, and we do see they have been able to take control of upper again, and they have a large advantage with Degu going down.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, you talk about how it's the small differences. You know, BB and Satan, they're staying alive, combining to take down Gedu, and Layla not dying to Mezzo, and then Gedu getting taken down again. It's, you know, moments like that can really turn the tide. 5.5 minutes left to go on the clock, and SDCK now are in a situation where they have to try and deal with this Uber that Feila have. Joe being so aggressive here, does get taken down by Proki. That is a huge pick. Karoi, very, very aggressive, takes some damage, has to back off there. And now Feila playing a little bit more passive. They don't have their talisman ready with them. They don't have that demo with the denial on the top. And sort of SDCK now, this is their opportunity perhaps here, Dave, to try and get something done. They do get the force.
Yeah, big force coming in. Grip is so deep. Degu would have died. I mean, and he manages to pit Murphy as well. Grip with a huge play in that Uber. Degu was caught out far too far forward here and complete control of this upper area once more. They've got complete control of this hill here, Feila. I mean, this is what we saw kind of in the final on the reverse side with SDCK kind of styling on Feila. Joen picks up Murphy with a trap as well, so it's all in Feila's favour right now.
Yeah, I don't understand that, doing so much good work. And Kuroi takes down Gedu again. We're at 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, and SDCK don't look anywhere close to capturing second right now. They do such a great amount of work. They get Proki in a position where he takes down Joe. They get Jackie Legs bombing in, but the rest of the team is so far forward, and you don't have Uber. The Pirate just needs to hold mouse 1 and just, that's it. That's game over. And now it looks like they're running out of ideas. It's still not over at all, but later at 100% again, hasn't really been pressured very much on this point. Mezzo's getting caught out and the other players are getting denied, so they have to do something different here. They take down Dixos and Grip. Those are 2 big players for this point, but when it takes you 6 players to do it, Dave, it's not the best trade.
Well, they did opt to do something a little bit different there. They did stack all their players into the tunnel, but they weren't all coming out of the exits like in sync or kind of together, and Feila did an excellent job stopping them with Dixos picking up a couple of big frags in that kind of side tunnel area, and Murphy denied on the car as well. So Degu is getting towards this Uber now, but they haven't been able to force Layla whatsoever, and they haven't been able to deny Joe as well, who's nice and far forward, which is got an option to see them through the tunnel once more.
Yeah, Uber trade happening here, and Yahoo just pushing them out of the way into an awkward position here. They should be able to collapse onto this. They are losing players. Kuroi on a 7 kill streak takes down Boska, but everyone else is dying. Proki takes down Kuroi, and that was well played by Yahoo again, just pushing the combo behind and allowing his team to kind of envelope all around and just collapse. 2.5 minutes here, Dave. It's possible, but there can be no mistakes, and it is still equal Ubers. Kuroi's still in the respawn queue, so that gives a little bit more space for him to work with, but it's going to be very, very tight.
Yeah, it looks like Yahoo is trying to get something going. But we see Mezzo now picking up Joe, Layla going down as well. Those big 2 players for Feila taken out by Mezzo. He's coming at a very, very clutch time. We're now down to 2 minutes. The car is moving very, very nicely here, so it is just about possible, and we do see a large advantage. Really, Feila, they have to decide, do they want to lose any more players on this third point? They're not denying the car whatsoever, but they have players sticking around.
Ooh, Axio! He gets Gedu! Axio was just lurking behind. Gedu was trying to dodge and weave and make sure he didn't die to all of the players running at him, but behind comes Axio and gets the kill onto Gedu. That is huge. Mezzo did so much good work opening things up for his team there. But there we go, Kuroi getting a couple of kills there, just watching the cart with Wamba. That might be GG. I mean, they need to get the cart here. Jackie Legs beefs his jump somehow and lands off the map. Proki's going to get outsniped by Kuroi. It's not looking good. Kuroi is just playing duck hunt right now. Anyone who goes onto the cart, he takes down. And Feila know that as long as they just hold this for a few more seconds, then it's going to be pretty much impossible to push it all the way to last.
Beautiful from Feila, playing absolutely into their win condition. You know, they weren't winning the team fights, but just completely denying the cart that was in front of them. It looked risky to stay in that third point for as long as they did, with so many players committed, but obviously it was Axio who came in with that big play, and SDCK crumbled after that. We're looking at 30 seconds. Is this possible?
I think physically it's just about possible. I think it's about 45 seconds or so, 43 seconds from third to last with the ×3. It's equal Ubers. Feila have the high ground. The car cannot stop at this point. Otherwise it is all over. And if Feila have any sense, they'll just use Uber on the car and make sure that they don't keep pushing it. But May and Clark is still pushing it. Satan's getting denied here. 8 seconds to go. The Uber finally drops down onto the car. I think that might be enough. Yeah, it's not going to go in. And Feila are going to take this first map. SDCK's choice. Let's remember, they're going to take this map 2-0. I think we will have logs, combined logs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the logs now and sorting it by kills straight away. Kuroi 58 and 15. That is a standout performance from Feila's sniper.
420 DPM.
Yeah, exceptional time to step up.
One map down and Feila looking good. He lost it 2-0 to Feila, who are now on their map choice, Lakeside. And if they win this, they will be crowned the champions. If they lose it, we'll be going to Borneo. We do see some aggressive stacks from the red team here. That is Feila, and they managed to take down Geddu. They managed to pretty much wipe SDCK here. The blue team absolutely rocked during that mid-fight. We saw a jetpack, Pyro launching in there, just an absolute nuke there, Dave.
Wow, the coordinated aggression from Feila is so impressive. We see Joe just holding W, the jetpack coming in, BB again just holding W, hitting every meat shot. I mean, SDCK were completely just not prepared for that whatsoever.
That definitely, I mean, as a team, you've just lost your map choice. You have to come out strong on the next map. You know you've got to put a good show in. For that to happen on a mid-fight, that is going to mentally rob you. As we do see the force come out onto Layla there. Doesn't get much done with the Uber. A lot of players who are weak. Murphy down to 3 HP actually for SDCK. And Yahoo's going to get cleaned up there. So they're really not in a great position to fight. But Grip and Joe going down. Pyro and Demo down for Feila. They're holding this pool room. Mezza getting the backstab onto Kuroi. Maybe the wider open map is going to enable him to be shut down a little bit more because he went hard on that first map. But now SDCK with the Uber advantage starting to get a little bit of cap time as well.
Yeah, they are starting to get a little bit of cap time with none of that kind of Uber that they have to worry about. The Uber is now going to be up for SDCK. They've kind of taken the point without really losing much for it. Just Poker and Main now back in the small queue with the Heavy and the Scout on Feila's side are also down, so it's very much even Stevens. Feila managed to get a full minute off that cap, which is very good off that kind of dominated mid-fight. Shows you how important the mid-fights are for these knockouts. But now the Uber's going to come in.
Yeah, the Uber's going to be used. Counter Uber from Feila, but doesn't look to be going too great for them. BB searching for the kills, but it just gets a face for the stickies. Actually, there's a lot of kills going left, right, and center here. Joe, Kuroi both going down. Koska, Jackie Lakes are also dead. A lot of spam off the field from both teams, but SDCK giving up the cap and then trying to recap it now. Yep, well, the game is now unpaused. Perfect timing. Nice little neat explanation there. I totally agree. Scout on the beam on this map is crazy effective. And we do see the cap going back to SDCK now. And Feila, they're still trying to fight it. They're still trying to contest it. And it looks like the pool room is just being ignored at the moment. It's just Brokey in there with a mini sentry for company. Nice little reflect kill by Grip there onto Jackie Legs. Maybe Feila are going to be able to recap this.
Yeah, you're correct that Feila they're not putting much stock in that pool room at all. They're just playing the point itself. They're having these 9 plates. They would almost take like a 9v7 fight just across the point, and those couple of extra players are being crucial. We do now see Satan going for a little bit of a flank. He will get cleaned up, but they've managed to bully SDCK all the way back. They're only just approaching the point now, and Dickmann goes down to Kuroi.
Huge snipe by Kuroi there, just as SDCK getting ready to go in for that kind of that pressure on the point, maybe get a force. Losing the men, you do get the force, they get 4 kills as well, but it's pretty much a team wipe coming out of the blue side. They get the cap, that's going to delay those spawns as well. Not really the best turn of events coming out of SDCK there, but they keep the round alive, and the fact that they got the force means that they could probably take a fight now and probably be in a good position to win it, as Joe was the one who timed out there during the reason for the pause. But Kuroi again gets Geddu down, and they just cannot keep their men alive right now.
Yeah, again, he walks straight in as soon as he's through that choke point. He's just instantly headshot by Kuroi, who seems to be absolutely on fire tonight. Not only great volume of frags, but just how many crucial picks these are on the medic, especially. Just completely, the aggression collapses without the heals there. for SDCK, and it's now down to 6 seconds, and Layla is coming up on Uber to defend the point as well.
Yeah, it is basically, well, it's overtime now. Uber just being flashed around to the players on the point. SDCK know they have to fight it. Mezzo does get the backstab onto Kavoy. A lot of kills coming down here. Feila starting to bleed out players. Joe's alive. Geddy is dodging. Does manage to stay alive. Wambert's walking across the point now and will get destroyed. That is a total team wipe on the side of Feila. And SDCK just waiting for the cap, just waiting for their respawns to come in before they capture the point. Because of course, when you have control of the point, then it means your spawns are longer. So just delaying Feila's spawns as long as possible while speeding theirs up. And now, Dave, they're going back to what they like, pool room, 100% Uber. Still got a minute and a half to go though.
Yeah, SDCK opted for this kind of pool room hold. There's so much damage coming out from Joe. Poker's going to get cleaned up in the doorway immediately. We see a little bit of pressure, Wombat trying to peek. Joe does manage to get the force out, just holding W, putting pipes to that pool room. Layla's looks to be nice and far back. Even the stickies get denied by Grip, and Murphy does get picked up by Dixos, who was hiding as well with that Tomislav. So lots of players down for SDCK and a large advantage for Feila. Perfectly
I'm
played.
not sure about that play actually. I mean, Murphy alive is better than going for the medic kill there. Layla is going to use the Uber. They don't have Satan, they don't have Koroy, but they've got some cap time. It's about halfway done. They're getting some frags as well, but Posture and Clark, they will start cleaning some players up. Is it going to be enough? There's a lot of players weak on the side of Feila. They need to start cleaning these players up, but no, it's not going to be enough. 40 seconds left on the clock for SDCK. They're pretty close round in the end, but Feila looking strong on this map at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to have to look, I think, for an adjusted mid-fight here from SDCK. They could perhaps opt to take a few more players into pool room if they wanted. But, you know, if the same happens we saw in the first fight, they get nuked again, it could be curtains.
Jackie Legs is really deep here, but a wrangled mini sentry kind of helps him backwards. And, I mean, he lives. But, yeah. I think, did Grip get airshot there by Proki?
No, I didn't see it, but apparently so. Yeah, interesting there for SDCK. You know, they obviously weren't ready for the aggression the first round. This time they were much more prepared. You could see the whole swarm of players just kind of shift leftwards, just perfectly kited all the aggression. It became much easier for them to deal with when the players were just kind of landing to the right, kind of not into kind of the low ground, just kind of that barren sort of side with no one to land on. They just kited it perfectly, and much better kind of mid-fight from SDCK. The Uber Force does come out though.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to look more like classic SDCK here. We saw Yahoo going for a play on the point, just running in, killing Layla. Meant his team had Uber advantage. Then they get forced, they run out, they have May on the beam. Proki takes down Layla with the headshot. You know, they're looking pretty solid at the moment. They're not feeding players. And, yeah, it's starting to look a little bit more like their old selves. What was essentially equal Ubers is now, again, an advantage for SDCK. And in this pool room, they like to hold here. They did get forced, but now, you know, it's going to be very hard for SDCK to... for Feila to get anything done. But, like, the weakness of the pool hold, Dave, is the fact that you can just cut the point.
Yeah, well, also, like, you're so
Joe.
much up. Joe was able to go in, just smash absolutely everyone in that pool room. They were not expecting all that immediate, just explosive damage coming into everyone at the same time. And while it looked very solid, those explosive projectiles come in from Joe to smash everyone together at the same time, and complete destruction. We talk about Joe being complete talisman for Feila, and he pulled it out big time there, and very instantly turned in Feila's favour now.
Yeah, but now look what's happening. Mezzo, Murphy, May, all the M's starting to combine and pick up the kills. They get the force, and Yahoo is just going to use that M2 to bully around. Sees Layla on her own. She flashes to give it back on. Jackie Legs is actually on the chase. Layla is so weak and eventually gets the kill, and her respawn is so late now. SDCK do capture the points. That's going to have the respawn, but she's still going to be respawning later than anybody else because of that late death. And It seems weird, Dave, to me. I don't know about you, but it looked like SDCK were in control for that long, but they're only about 30 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I mean, often, we talk about Feila, like, that they can lose team fights, but they can often do such a good job just distracting. It can kind of make it difficult for how quickly you can re-push the point. SDCK in a solid position is taking up to now a bit of a minute advantage. It's 100% as well for them, but they're kind of just hiding in this pool and they don't seem to want to go for anything aggressive just yet.
They take down Kuroi, and that's kind of the cue. There we go. Mezzo with the shank will take down Layla. The weakness of the pool hold is the fact that you can just... Oh, actually, getting us taken down by Dixos, who's just hiding in these positions and catching players out. Catching the medic out is the biggest prize you can get from that lottery. Still alive, trying to fight May. May is going to use the cleaver, though, to finish up. Yeah, the pool hold is strong. You're very compact. You have great sidelines. However, the enemy team can just capture the point at a distance. But if the enemy team sniper is down, then you can expand out onto the point. And that's exactly what SDCK did. They just overextended a little bit there. And that means Layla has about a 20% advantage. But they don't have control of anywhere, really. They're behind the point, playing rather passive here.
Yeah, SDCK completely taking kind of control. There's no Joe up there denying them. We do see a big bomb coming from Jackie Legs. In fact, Layla is going to get picked up. So many players down here for Feila and only trading a couple out in SDCK's favour. It seems at the moment these dry fights are very, very strong for SDCK. And one of the curiosities of this map as well, we've seen a couple of times now, is when you lose these fights, it's very, very difficult for the medic to escape.
Very difficult for the medic to escape with a backstab as well, as Meadow places one firmly into the back of Layla. They are getting some cap time though. They're losing a lot of players, and the downside is they're going to get this cap, and then their respawns are going to be 20 seconds long, and they're going to have to win a 4 versus 7, including the Uber there. So this round is pretty much done and dusted. Unless Kuroi and Layla can teleport themselves to the midpoint, it is going to be 1-1, and SDCK getting their first round of this grand final.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of an elevation of gameplay here, I think, from SDCK. It's interesting to see at the end of that round, perhaps, if they'd only kept it 99% for Feila and just kept it in overtime a little bit longer, might have worked out for them. But I think there were just so many frags in SDCK's favour, and these dry pushes have been so strong for them that they were very much superior on that round.
Yeah, they seem to be kind of waking up to the strategies that Feila were pulling out. Jackie Legs, though, doesn't get behind this time around, and here comes Grip flying through the air. It's just going to get air blasted back by Yahoo, and wow, Satan gets air headshot out of the sky by Proki, and Gedu does go down, but almost the entire team of Feila is wiped out, and it's just the aggression there coming in from Feila was just totally countered by SDCK.
Yeah, it seems they've worked this out a little bit. We might see a bit of an awakening of a giant here from SDCK. They finally seem to have got their act together. Again, they're opting for this pool hold. So far, as we say, a little bit hit and miss. When Joe's able to do damage to them, it's looked kind of shaky, but they are able to have a lot of security here. There's so many players around him, he can sit in his dispenser armor if he requires. So I mean, Feila just opted again to get a little bit of cap time, taking it far wide. But if the Uber does come in, then Layla has to leave quickly and probably needs a scout with her, and the scout's down, unfortunately.
I'm just loving these sniper shots, really. Proki gets pings BB out of the air. I mean, Kuroi finally he's been working at this for the past sort of 30 seconds or so. Been trying to get onto Kuroi, and he's just been well protected by Grip and had Layla for company as well. And May has just been lurking, waiting for the right time to pounce. And as soon as Kuroi was on his own, managed to take him down. The Uber does get forced from Layla. Proki is going to take her down as that Uber finishes up. And Geddy's going to pop his Uber and start to clean up the rest of the players on the point. And at the moment, Feila have not captured this midpoint during the round. And it's already half the time chalked off for SDCK. They're looking much, much better in this round. And Feila are the ones maybe struggling for ideas right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're not quite getting as much success as they want, but we now see Joe just piling pipes into that kind of dispenser. Digger's completely alone, going to get cleaned up by Satan. Perfect performance there. They even keep Layla alive this time from Feila, so they knew exactly what they wanted to do. Got all the players into position. Beautiful mulch, just everyone kind of converging, you know, on that kind of pool room at the same time, and so much damage going in, and now large advantage for Feila, but they're much behind in time.
You know, when I said I thought Feila were running out of ideas, I guess the one idea that does work is just jump into the pool room and nuke them, which Joe's done a couple of times, and he keeps doing it, and he's actually taken down Gedu. Look at me, he's taking control of the enemy bats. He's taken down Gedu, he's taken down Proki, and he sticky jumps away. Oh, he gets finished up by Mezzo. Gets the Latranja out and takes him down. Joe almost got in and got away with murder there, but it wasn't good enough. Karoy also getting taken down, and yeah, they're just getting outnumbered, outgunned here. SDCK walking forward, and they just win that fight. Gedu alive. They're going to recapture the point. Still with a decent lead here. Feila managed to get over a minute off. So yeah. Each time they're capping, they're actually getting a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I mean that was decent from Feila, you know, for a bit, but they lost their scout, they lost their soldier and their demo, and now Layla's gone down again to Porky. Porky this round seems to have picked up Layla every time. Mezzo going for a play on Dixon doesn't manage to pick it up, but you know, with no Ubers really coming out here, or not enough Ubers coming out here for Feila, Layla just going down a little bit too much these last couple of rounds. It's difficult, and you know, every time that minute goes down, you're almost talking about 30 seconds to a minute, kind of where it's very difficult to pressure that point.
Yeah, Satan jumping around behind the pool room again, maybe to get some pressure. And a bit of a distraction, but Uber comes out here, and so there's a weak Joe, Grip, Satan, they're all going to get cleaned up. 10 seconds left on the point, and basically the rest of the Feila players need to get onto the point now before that cap time degrades any further. Murphy actually standing on the point, which actually degrades the cap time faster, but also he is in preparation, putting those stickies up as the players start to flood onto the point, and Positive comes with the cleanup as well. It's actually 4v4 right now, Dave.
Yeah, but the class is really not very much in Feila's favour. They had Murphy, they had Poker there, and it was only really the snipe with the medic up, not the classes you want to take that kind of crucial DM fight at the end of the round. And now 2 with SDCK, and it's match point to them, for Lakeside at least.
For Lakeside, yeah, it could be. I mean, we could see one of these classic situations where teams in a grand final take each other's map choices. Obviously, if SDCK win this round, they'll be taking it to the decider. But Feila still not done and dusted. That first round was pretty clinical from them. Both snipers dying, and actually SDCK losing more players here. A bit more of a passive mid-fight coming out of Feila, not sending in their pyro and their soldier deep, just kind of playing around the point, cleaning up the place to get aggressive, and it looks like they're going to get the cap out of it.
Yeah, they do take the cap out. They've lost a couple of kind of crucial players here. I mean, one thing I want to see Feila change up is, like, when they have this point, I think they need to be a little more aggressive, particularly this kind of right side. They don't have the defense. It's very easy for Murphy or Yahoo to run up, and we see them again crossing kind of that side with the ammo pack. Uber now does come in. Feila, they're taking a little bit more pressure on the point, but Layla's getting blasted back onto the SDCK Valley. Will she escape? No, she won't. Cleaned up by Porky once more, and the SDCK are going to be able to walk back onto the point, although it's a little bit of back and forth fighting here.
It's the amputated taunt, Dave. I never understood why Gedu does this, but sometimes it works, and in that situation, maybe I think Posca would have died a little bit earlier there if it hadn't been for the fact the amputated taunt came out, but also you could say you could have just arrowed him. But yeah, SDCK do manage to cut the time before Feila get a minute off there. May's actually going to kill BB with the bleed damage. Running that cleaver combination. Dixor's very far forward here. He's going to get cleaned up away from the rest of his team. Satan going for this jump behind again. Joe peeking in through the main, just firing at that dispenser like you said. Getting a lot of damage down, but no kills this time. And this Uber advantage, this huge ad here for SDCK is even bigger as Proki takes down Layla.
Yeah, I mean, playing Medic on this map, you'll experience that a lot. It's horrible, the sight lines you have to deal with. The Uber is coming out from SDCK here. They're not going to get a ton of frags here, but so many players are already down for Feila, and you know, there's not going to be any disadvantage they really have to worry about either because of Layla going down. So they're just very, very happy in this pool hold. They're now at a slight time advantage as well. And what we saw really from that defense was they were able to deal with Joe a lot better this time, and he's going aggressive again here.
Yeah, they actually just get the cap based on the fact that SDCK are staying holed up in the pool room, and they didn't have an Uber that time to push out with. So they get a couple of kills, but you know what? The amount of kills you have don't really matter if you don't have control of the point, and Feila are quite happy to let SDCK have the pool room and just have control of the point, and then they just walk in, and there we go. A combination of Grip and Dickmann are going to get down, Getting, and the rest of the players. So that pool room just shows you there's no point in being there if you can't defend the point. And SDCK trying to get players on the point now. 5-second respawn on a number of plays, including Layla, who died. Don't know how she died that time, yeah, this round has been pretty back and forth.
Yeah, I think it was a big kind of late salvage from Jackie Legs coming across the point. You know, intercepted the GM Fest, and there weren't quite enough players around to kind of save Layla that time. SDCK do take control of the point, and they have all their players up in pool room. But it's very much been back and forth. Like, whenever Joe has been able to get into that position, he's been able to rain down so much damage into that pool room. And if they don't clean him up pretty quickly, he just seems to be able to dominate them.
Yeah, and Feila again are just happy to let them have the pool room while they get the camp time. And SDCK just don't seem to like contesting when they don't have the Uber. Wiethoofd dies at 97%. BB just runs in and takes the shot, gets the kill. And Feila now in the lead in terms of time. They have control of the point, and they have 100% Uber advantage.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting from like a strategy point of view. I think we perhaps might need to see a little bit of a change up here from SDCK. They've been very reliant on Porky. He needs to get those kind of picks on the point, either the Joe or Layla, when that kind of cap time is coming in. If he doesn't get those crucial picks, they just get mulched in the pool room. And now with this Uber advantage, Joe is going very deep. Decides not to go for Degu, saw that Degu was just far out of there. It's in fact BB chasing deep as well. Does get cleaned up in a 1v1 against Murphy. But all this time, you know, the time has ticked down here for Feila, and you know, we're now going down. They're down to 10 seconds. It's going to be sort of a dry push here for SDCK to get on the point. They're not even up at Uber, so they don't even have that Uber to push.
Yeah, they have the advantage. So if they cap this and keep Gedu alive, it's going to be really good. But they've lost Plat, Posca, and May already. They have the Uber now, which they have to use, but they also need to keep the cap time alive. And Axio just finishes off the person trying to cap. This is looking a little bit messy here. SDCK have to try and gamble the fighting and the capping at the same time. Players are jumping around left, right, and center. Joe gets cleavered down by Proki. The cap time is degrading. No, in comes the respawns, and it looks like they may be able to get it done. They reset some of their important spawns though, Dave. Yahoo, Poker, and Proki still in the queue, and it is about a 10% advantage for Layla. Not much to write home about, but I mean, every little advantage is going to be huge at this point.
Yeah, Jackie Legs going down as well, going to be a big kind of respawn timer for him. We see Joe instantly getting across the point deep, not getting as much damage as he would have liked, but Murphy is picked up in the meantime by Axio. So a lot of denial down for SDCK, and players are starting to flood onto the point now. Joe and Dicksaw's getting really aggressive on the point. There's just not enough players here for SDCK. Clark is very much having to fight it alone. Jackie Legs coming in the last second. Nice arrow onto him, but a snipe onto Degu, and Feila take the round, and it's 2-2. It's a deciding round on Lakeside.
Whew. Well, I mean, it doesn't get closer than this. One round to decide this map, and Feila know if they are the ones to win the round, they're going to be crowned UGC Platinum champions. SDCK know they need to win this round to stay in and take it to a third map. Let's see what the teams decide to do on this mid-fight. We saw a passive mid-fight from Feila last time as the aggressive one stopped working. But first casualty is going to be Lambert. Joe also goes down to Mezzo. There's some key players going down for both sides, but it's actually Feila with players on the point.
Yeah, we see Mezzo, a lot of players just now going across the point here, may get so much damage down. Dickmann's that heavy on the low ground, not able to do very much. Layla does smartly get out there. She's been really good on her heels so far. May chasing deep, gets picked up by Joe. The cap will come down for SDCK, but Feila have been able to retain, an even Uber situation.
Equal Ubers. Karoy is dead, so Proki able to just peek out this doorway with a little bit more kind of confidence, but again, it does look like they're going to get the force. Joe, though, so weak after Uber. He's going to have to take a majority of that flash to stay alive, but the portal hold just doesn't seem to be working. Layla gets caught, though.
Yeah, Layla got fully airblasted, completely dumpstered onto SDCK's side once more. Cleaned up this time. I mean, a lot of players have gone down for SDCK, but they've been able to retain that heals. And also the point as well. The point didn't come in there for Feila while they did have the Uber players on the point. And now we see, in fact, Clark going in. I mean, well, he went with the Frontier Justice, but it was in fact Mezzo who picked up that kind of nice little frag here, and it's kind of just sat down a little bit here. It's a little bit kind of calmer than it has been. The SDCK very, very much on top of this round so far.
Yeah, and they're deciding not to go to the pool, and this time they're going to hold behind the point. Big bomb from Satan. Poker will deny it. Joe getting beamed there by the Atomic Slap, but Murphy going maybe a little bit too aggressive. Gets a nice flash from Getty though. Will stay alive, and May's on the cleanup crew getting the kills. Layla is so weak, trying to back out there, and she will live. As Karoy gets that headshot onto him to deny the medic frag, and it is about a 20% advantage here, Dave, but Feila have not captured the point so far this game.
Yeah, we do see BB get quite a good amount of cap time here, but the fact it's SDCK have opted to go back into this pool again, that wasn't really working too well for them in the previous rounds. It's kind of a mess, right? Players all over the place. I think a big flank play there from Murphy picks up a lot of players. Layla going down, so many players down for Feila that SDCK kind of very, very much come out on top of the end of that messy fight. It seems that a bit of a change in SDCK. They just opted to hold in different places, pressure from different areas, and Feila kind of aren't prepared for it at the moment.
Yeah, although it does look like they want to go back to the safety of the pool room. Mezzo with the kill onto Joe is huge as we are approaching less than a minute as the Uber is going to be used here. Layla may get caught. May's on the chase, but no, backs up. They just chill. They don't go too deep and overextend. And they are now playing again behind the point. It seems when they don't have an Uber, they want to play behind the point to maybe back out a little bit easier. But Layla, 75% has the advantage. She doesn't quite have the Uber yet. And SDCK is showing a little bit of respect, making sure that they don't get caught out. And they lose a couple of players sacking in, potentially. Murphy goes in deep, gets some damage down, but nothing to really talk about there. And Layla still has that 100% as she uses it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a complete sack wave there from SDCK. They rode the storm really, really well on Feila, but then they wanted to put the heels back on the point, and Layla just popped. I don't know if she quite needed to there. I mean, Degu was kind of nowhere to be seen, so there was no option of kind of killing Degu with that Uber. I mean, it looked like it was going to be so good for Feila for a second, but the force comes out, and that's exactly what SDCK wanted.
I think Joe was taking quite a lot of damage. She was down to about 70 HP. Maybe that was the reason for it, but Murphy and May are taking the meat of this Uber. They take down Grip, Karoy, Diggs also goes down. They have so much cab time right now. Layla not close to Uber. Jackie Legs just jumping in, does get the kill. Absolutely nuking that combo. Everyone's getting cleaned up. 15 seconds to go. The respawns from Feila are going to have to coordinate a push here in the last 10 seconds to get on the point. Otherwise, we're going to Borneo.
I mean, Jackie Legs jumps into 3 players. The medic, the scout, and the demo kills all 3 and manages to jump out. That's a big bomb from him. Beautifully played. We know how much of a magician he is getting out of these kind of awkward situations. SDCK pick up this map, Lakeside. We will be going to Borneo. We could be in for a long one.
Another best of 3 coming up. Didn't see that happening after the first round. I honestly thought that Feila would have the advantage on this map. They chose it for a reason. And after that first round, I thought SDCK were in trouble here. But credit to them. They adapted. They changed. Even when they started winning and then started losing again, they came back. And SDCK taking it 3-2. Very, very close. Honestly, Borneo could go either way at this point.
The first thing I see is top of the frags is BB for Feila, but it's Mezzo in fact for SDCK.
And it's going to be Borneo we're playing now. So I'm sure Feila are going to have aggression. I'm sure SDCK are going to have some strats. We'll have to see how it goes. But if you're just joining us, this is the final map. There is no more after this. The winner of this map will be taking it. It is the season 33 Platinum Grand Final of UGC European Highlander. This is between SDCK, the defending champions, and Feila eSports. A repeat of the ETF2 Grand Final has basically been almost a repeat of the ETF2 Grand Final. It's going to a third map. Both teams taking a map each upward, going 2-0 to Feila, and Lakeside going 3-2 to SDCK. We're now on Borneo in the jungle, the payload map to decide it all. We are playing a best of 3, so we will be seeing perhaps some adapting from the teams to try and see what they can do to crack the defenses. It's going to be SDCK in the blue first, attacking and setting a time, with Feila in the red defending and then trying to beat that time, and then we'll swap over for the second round. Any final predictions here, Dave?
I think finally this is Feila's time. They're going to beat SDCK in a final.
Ooh, that's bold. Not even on the fence.
4, 3.
Got to go for it.
Gotta go
time,
for
I
it,
think.
brave. It's brave. I like it, Dave. I like the bravery, and the Feila are going to need to be brave themselves here if they are going to finally get a final win over SDCK. We're seeing the bonk from May just scoping out, trying to find out where that sentry is, and the sentry is so passive here. The Uber is used by SDCK really aggressively. Kuroi and BB and the sentry all going down. Axiom does get a backstab onto Getty when the collapse comes in from the red side, just cleaning up the players, but Jackie Legs with a cheap little airshot there onto Satan with the direct hit, getting that mini crit, and May just pushing that cart forward ×3. They're going to finish off that sentry, surely. Go on, Jackie. One more direct hit. There we go. It goes down. And that first point goes down very, very quickly.
That's about as quickly as they could. I think they had 3x on cart the whole time. I mean, they were very, very well practiced at SDCK. They just took the Uber straight in. I mean, they lost players for it. But all the time, the cart was moving behind that Uber, though, obviously. You know, that was very, very much a plan from SDCK, I believe. We'd actually Murphy getting a little bit aggressive. The Jenkins hold coming out here from Feila, but Yahoo is going to pick up Dick Sauce, and Joe and Dick Sauce now not in this Jenkins area there. They're back in the small queue. So while there's a little bit of a denial onto cart, there isn't really the players that Feila would want in this barn. Yeah,
there is a little advantage here for Layla. She has the charge, but Gedu not actually healing at the moment. He's only at 66%. And I think he's just playing a little bit passive. They're trying to get the force onto Layla here, sending in some players. Joe and Kuroi both go down, but they do not get the force. Actually, no, they do get the force. They used Uber there.
Yeah, after they lost those 2 players from just Clark walking in with his shotgun, the force does eventually come out. Murphy went down so low, but does manage to get sneak out and heal up. And now we're going to see a little bit of a battle. It's battalions coming in from Jackie Legs. All the players flooding through Jenkins. Feila completely giving it up. There's a little bit of a gun they have to deal with, but Feila are very, very much back in this tunnel area. And because she was hanging around in the tunnel, Layla does get picked up by Porky.
It's tempting as a medic to just look around the corner and be like, what's going on, team? Don't do that, because then someone like Proki will shoot your head clean off your shoulders And now that there's an Uber advantage for Gedu, they got that second point where I said, you know, we do see sometimes teams struggling to break that down. And this third point now, Feila don't have a level 3 sentry. Actually, the level 1 sentry just gets taken down there. Wambert not getting it up in time, and Polska just pushing forward. Sata gets taken out by Murphy, who in turn gets traded with by Joe. And maybe this is going to be an opportunity to Feila to get some more. No, Mezzo gets Kavoy. It's just a frag fest. People are dying all over the place here, Dave. And Feila, I feel like, are on the back foot.
They are, but Joe did come up with some crucial frags onto the SDCK combo. With both Murphy and Poker going down, they couldn't really get any aggression going down into that high ground area. I mean, this third point is all about taking control of the high ground. Feila have it for now, and they are just about going to get this Uber in time. The Uber comes in from SDCK, but the counter Uber is going to be in from Feila here, CJ.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone when they had a bit of a better advantage. They don't, but Posca and Jackie Leg staying in, and they managed to take down the entire combo, and they just absolutely destroy that sentry nest as well. Poker not backing out, not showing no fear whatsoever, and Jackie Leg still on the direct hit, just running it full time on the offense so far. The pan comes out from Murphy as he serves up a bit of pain there for Karoy. And this car is not being pushed at the moment because Joe is still throwing the stickies onto the car. But again, just a massive exchange happening, and Feila coming out the worst of it.
Yeah, you know, they didn't get the capital on their SDCK, but they do have control of the upper area. And now we're seeing from Feila, they're opting for this kind of 3.5, 3.5 kind of hold here, where they can't really deny the cap. The third does come in, and now they're not even opting for it. They're backing out. They're going all the way back to last. Lost Joe and Wambert for it, so there's going to be no certificate and no demo on last. Those are crucial picks.
Yeah, I've never liked the older 3.5 hold, because as soon as you lose those important players, you can be rolled all the way to last. Wise choice there from Feila to just back out as soon as they lost Joe and Wambert, and they are going to be on the respawn, so Wambert may be able to get some sort of sentry up. It's up to level 2, but it's actually still on the spawn, so if Feila were to move anytime quickly, they wouldn't really have to deal with a sentry, which is what they're doing right now. But they've dropped a lot of players. Murphy and May and Jackie Legs all taken out of the action, and Feila stabilizing a little bit on the last point, getting that sentry up onto the high ground. Ubers were exchanged. Karoy goes down to Yahoo as he's running away there, but it's going to be maybe a bit of a stalemate here, Dave. Maybe this is a bit the time for some calm.
Yeah, I mean, Murphy took that Uber in kind of eagerly, comes around the corner, the Uber flashed off him, and he just sees kind of Uber Joe, and Dix was right in his face, gets cleaned up instantly. Perfect counter Uber from Feila, just exactly what they needed. They cleaned up the rest of the players. We are seeing the flank is moving this car a little bit. The conch does come in, they are going to get chased out of there. Jackie Legs does go down, Poker goes down as well. I mean, I guess that was almost like a conch force.
Yeah, kind of maybe wanted to use that for after the fight, as both teams do have the Uber. Don't really want to just go in dry. Maybe want to get a force. Maybe they're even going to go for a trade in here. Actually, as Murphy's going to take charge, just go forward, throw some stickies towards the sentry. The sentry takes a pipe. It will go down, so that sentry's been taken out of action. But Murphy does as well, and 10 seconds for him and Poker is not going to be good enough for a repush. And SDCK maybe now starting to struggle a little bit in breaking down this last hold, which we have seen can be a bit bothersome to just go in and manage to hold onto that high ground after an Uber trade.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about these teams perhaps not being as familiar with this map, or not as sure. Like, some of these players might not have even played this map, with their team before. But it seems Feila, like, they really on the ball with this kind of defensive hold. They're just going for this defensive trade on this little like mini staircase on the right hand side every time. But it's up to SDCK. They are opting to push a little bit from the right side, but Joe puts so much damage down, completely denies them, and they're going to scamper back out.
I always like the spy on this last point, because you can get a little like cheeky cap time without anyone realizing, just pushing it closer and closer to the hole. We see a lot of teams doing that. I remember in past games I've seen Agi do that to great effect, and Mezzo's trying to do it now. Just keeping that cart alive and keep it moving forward as the Ubers are traded again on this far side. Conch also used by Satan there, giving his team a little bit more maneuverability, but again, nothing actually coming out of it. No kills for SDCK, and that sentry is still there. Jackie Legs with the direct hit, just trying to spam it down. He's been running it full time, but this is where Feila are buying. They're buying the minutes here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean that time it was less of a complete slam dunk with the Uber trade there from Feila. Like they were slightly kind of caught out position. Do you see a lot of cap time in fact going down? Opted. Oh, they did just cap it. Wow.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I sort of did like the cheeky cap time coming in from the spy, but I guess you can just put anyone on the cart, really. That's kind of how the game works, Dave. You can just cap. Anyone can cap. Remember that. But yeah, SDCK, after struggling to take the Uber exchanges, they just stick a player on the cart and it rolls in. And Feila are probably kicking themselves right now and being like, we were doing good there. What happened? 8 minutes and 9 seconds. I don't know if that's a good or a bad time at this stage. I would say SDCK probably frustrated they didn't do it faster after those first 3 points, but maybe not too peeved because if they know that they can get a good defense, then they could set them up pretty good in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, we talked before, this is like a slightly longer payload map compared to the others, so I don't think 8 minutes is a bad time by any means, and particularly, with how bad those Uber trades were going for SDCK, I think it's, they can really be counting their lucky stars that they managed to get that last cap. I mean, it just seemed a couple of players were just able to sneak in and play the cap, and Feila were so confident in their Uber trades, they were going so well for them, just weren't quite ready for that kind of sneaky play from, I think it was May and Mezzo.
Layla is already out with Grip and Joe. They just want to go in straight away. Grip actually using a little cheeky flare jump there to get up, but just gets pushed back, and then everyone else just gets denied. So, I mean, I guess much better coming in from SDCK defensively wise, but the sentry is more out in the open. Does go down. Poker will take down Grip. Murphy goes down. May goes down. Poker goes down. Now he's starting to look good for Feila as they're just healing up and pushing that cart, and SDCK are already out trying to defend second.
Yeah, I mean, that initial Uber wasn't as clean from Feila as we saw from SDCK, but it obviously just baited SDCK a little bit in, and now with Murphy and Poker going down, Murphy's just going to be able to get into this Jenkins area just about in time, but there's not going to be any Poker there to deny them. Porky gets cleaned up by Joe, just getting aggressive, and they're already taking all the space that they require. Dick Source is through onto the health pack, and SDCK need to work out where they want to defend this from.
They're just getting the cap time. Getu goes down to the direct hit. Poker is trying valiantly to get some kills. He does manage to get Layla somehow. Okay, trading medic for medic there. Direct hit and minigun not being the normal options to kill the enemy medic, but that's what we've been seeing so far. Murphy dies a little bit later to BB. Still only taking them a couple of minutes for those first 2 points. Less than that, actually. About a minute and a half, but the difference is Clark does have a sentry set up already on the high ground on this third point. Getu has a slim Uber advantage. We're talking like 15% here, but the big fact is that, Joe is coming in now, and it's only a level 1. Joe goes down though, the Wrangled Sentry and Jackie Legs combining to take him down. Clark pulls out the shotgun, takes down Dixos, and lives to tell the tale. And now he's going to go back and build that sentry up, and that dry push from Feila could not have gone worse. They lose their medic to Mezzo, and they have to regroup.
Yeah, they ended up dry pushing into a level 3 and a conch as well. Two of the worst things you want to be dealing with when you're dry pushing from the offensive side. SDCK just knowing exactly what they had to do. They just had to absorb a little bit of damage from that level 3. And then they just got very, very aggressive with that conch coming in. I think it was the conch. It was a banner at least. And yeah, paying absolute dividends. And the Optic did the same thing again, but this time an Uber is up for SDCK.
Yeah, the Uber comes in. They manage to get some kills. They get Dickmann and Satan. Yahoo's still peeking and prodding, seeing what he can get, and Proki is there as Joe starts to initiate the aggression, and then Yahoo follows up, gets a bunch of damage down, and just keeping Feila on their toes here, not letting them kind of chill and get themselves into a position where they can be ready to push. But now they can do it as Joe has respawned. He's about to rejoin his team. They're already going in here. Layla gets forced, takes a ton of damage. So many people are weak here on the side of Feila, but it's the sentry gun and it's Murphy that go down. And now here comes the collapse. Poker gets a kill. May gets a kill. Is that going to be enough? 4 down for Feila. Layla and Dixon's go down to Jackie Legs. And it looks like SDCK can hold on, Dave.
That is such a bad decision there from Feila. Like, they came in, took the Uber. I mean, it was a pyro against a wrangled sentry. It took an age to kill that sentry gun, but they had complete control of the high ground. But with players down, they just committed to a post-Uber fight, committing onto the low ground. If they just held the high ground, I think it would have been much better for them on Feila. But they committed to the low ground. Layla got cleaned up in that transition. Joe runs into 3 players on the cart, and just diving onto the cart, it wasn't even that close to being capped, to be honest.
Yeah, they not really get anything done there at all, as they do get the Uber force. Actually, it was just killing people. Actually gets the sentry guns down using that enforcer, so gets 2 kills and a sentry. Good shift for him. The force coming in, SDCK now on the low ground. I think they decide they want to do this, this 3.5 hold. Layla at the 100%. This is where things could go really wrong for them, I feel, Dave.
This is hyper risky, and they're aware of the risk. They back up, but Murphy
with the pipes. He always used to have good pipes with the stock launcher, and now he's using Iron Bomber. There's no way he's going to miss. Takes down Layla, the drop comes in, and you were talking about that being super risky. Well, somehow they made it pay off. 5-6 players on the car here. They want to get this car forward into the last point, but with just under 3 minutes to go, SDCK have an Uber advantage. They have a sentry on the high ground. They just need to hold on. But they got plenty of time to work with here. If they could just focus the car, it's going to be easily done.
Yeah, you also see something interesting. For the first time tonight, I believe, we're going to see Layla pick up the crit screen. We've seen how powerful it can be with Joe. I remember that visual game, Joe coming in clutch in the E2F2L Grand Final with that crits. I mean, I'm not sure if they're going to be aware of it. Layla's just about going to sneak out. Looks like they're waiting to build up this crit now at 90% in its go time.
Yeah, Mezzo's dead, so he would be in a position to give his team the info there. It looks like they've used it, and they've got the exchange, not dropping to that crits. So now they're aware that there is a crits in play. There are crit stickies everywhere from Joe. And now SDCK are like, okay, less than 2 minutes to go. You have Chris Krieg. We just need to not die to the Chris Krieg. They get a couple of kills there. Joe is dead, so they won't mind. Maybe they can rush Layla here, using that conch to take a little bit of space on the far side. But Layla is protected. She has Joe for company. He's on the respawn, 75%. Like you said, it builds faster. They're going to get crits before getting gets Uber, and it's all about whether this magic crit sticky is going to hit its target.
Yeah, now we're going to see the crits come in. Doesn't get as much as they would have wanted. Joe gets picked up by Murphy. BB goes down as well. Layla now goes down. Murphy hitting every single pipe at the tail end of this first round with Borneo. Not much cap time either from Feila. Kind of BM Uber coming out. Dickmann, he's got so many players around him. He's so far forward alone, but just not enough from Feila to kind of converge on him and clean him up. And it's back to the drawing board from Feila, and we're now down to under a minute.
Yeah, I mean, they still have an opportunity here. You know, less than a minute to go. They just need to get the car into the hole, and the round is won. Like we saw before, it doesn't matter how many kills you get. If you get it into the objective, you win the game. But SDCK are perfectly positioned. No Ubers are going to be in play. Murphy's hitting those pipes again, takes down Griff and Satan, and he gets enough damage on Dick's for him to be cleaned up by May. Mezzo turns up, gets the backstab onto Joe, gets the backstab onto Croy, and then shanks Layla. I am comfortable now to call it a GG for this first round.
Well, as long as there isn't some sneaky cap time like we saw for SDCK, but now we're going down to 15 seconds. I mean, it looked so good for Feila for quite a while in this round. Just, a couple of slips here and there, but they were kind of moving along nicely. I mean, I think the crits was very, very good idea on their side, but they didn't quite pull it off, and it was really Murphy. The first time we've really talked about him tonight, but stepping up at a crucial time. So many key frags in that kind of last couple of minutes.
Murphy not showing the fear. That first round will go to SDCK.
I mean, I think it's still very, very much up in the air. I opted for Feila before this map, and just about going to stick with him, I think.
I mean, I say this all the time. Doesn't matter what format you're playing, whether it's Sixes, Highlander. If you're playing TF2, the key is adaptation. You have to adapt to what your enemy is throwing at you. And we saw a lot of that on Lakeside. Each team back and forth. What's the enemy team doing? Okay, well, let's change up our midfield. Let's change up our defensive hold. Let's change the way we peek our sniper. You have to change the way you're playing in order to beat what's put in front of you. And Feila are the ones that are going to have to look at that and be like, hey, we need to do something different when we're attacking third because it really didn't work last time. And they'll have to be thinking on their feet because they are in the blue. They are attacking first. SDCK in the red will be trying to beat the time that Feila set. And if SDCK win this round, that's it. They retain the UGC Platinum title. Feila eSports need to win this one and another one in order to make themselves champion after such a strong start as well. So we'll have to see how the mentality, the morale, the tiredness comes into play. We have been playing for quite a long time now, and there's a lot of factors that can come in as people start to lose a little bit of concentration, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at this first point. Something interesting to point out from the first two rounds was how similar both teams kind of approached it. They just instantly went for sort of the trade up this kind of near side slope as fast as possible. And it seems that Layla is opted to do the same kind of thing again. What we didn't see was any kind of big frags in the transition. And Joe dies to a sticky trap from Murphy. They were absolutely prepared for it, and Layla's going to run back into spawn, but at least she didn't pop the Uber. That's a saving grace. See, that's adaptation for Murphy. You know, he saw what the Feila combo did last time. He's got a trap in the same spot. If he gets him again. Oh no, the Uber gets popped this time. Almost gets another kill into Joe. It's a much better Uber from SDCK. They're about 50% better, which is absolutely enormous. They've lost Grip and Satan here, Feila. They've also lost Axio. Kawoi does take down Murphy, so no demo spam will be a little bit harder to hold on to this card. It's a much more passive sentry from Clark right now, and I do think SDCK are starting to lose control at this point. They're committing a lot of players here into the... It looks like Mezzo is going to go down as well. They do pick up Joe and Dicksource, but Dicksource did so much work just prodding, himself from behind this kind of rock area, just providing a different angle of attack there on the heavy class. And it took so many players to clean him up. He got so much pressure, and now really SDCK, we saw the second point last time was complete disaster for them, but this time Murphy's much, much more aggressive.
Yeah, it's kind of a repeat of what we saw. Layla, though, gets backstabbed by Mezzo. Proki also getting some kills. It's not going to stop the rest of the Feila players.
They're just
pushing the car. Yeah, no one's stopping them. Finally, Yahoo and May come in to kill the players who are actually pushing the car. But look how far forward it is. It's tantalizingly close. Poker's actually going to stand on the cart to make sure that nobody gets a sneaky cap. Huge ad for Gedu. He's dropping a question mark in chat there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was caught on the stream, but somewhere in the backlight, in all of that kind of chaos just created by the cart being pushed so far, Wombat managed to sneak up through the flank, got point blank onto Degu, whiffed absolutely everything, and then got point blank headshot.
Oh no. It happens. Axio is lurking behind Poker right now. He uncloaks, but it doesn't matter. He's going to get headshot. Yahoo is all wide to the sneak cap. Layla goes down to Froki. The big body shot comes in. Gedu has not had to do anything for a while. Still has that 100% in the bank. And Feila now struggling on this second point. Froki on a 7 kill streak. He's starting to turn up here.
Yeah, absolutely. We see SDCK, they seem to have figured something out, but in fact BB just runs onto cart, hides from the sentry gun, and he even gets the force out. Degu feeling he had to pop either just to try and block the car itself or because he was running through a sniper cyclone perhaps, but they've even used now and they're running all the way back to third. No kind of hold up in the woods area. Murphy is actually perhaps in a position where he could potentially get caught out, but does win a 1v1 with Satan, picking him up with some clean stickies.
This is actually uber advantage for Feila. They have about a 10% advantage. All of the Murphy stakes though can take down Grip. Yeah, getting used on second. I'm not sure why. I don't think he's in the sniper sideline or he's expecting a fight. I'm not sure. Mezzo lurking behind the tree gets the stab. Roy, but Layla does not die. Proki still alive, still killing on an 8-kill streak. He's going to keep popping those heads. Takes down Satan for the clean, crisp 9. This is where advantage isn't going to come into play as Joe is not moving forward until now. In comes the Uber. Yahoo is there. Yahoo actually gets dropped out of the Uber. So May and Yahoo stood right next to Getty. Don't get flashed in time. And that means that the repush is on. Murphy is also dead. It's up to the rest of the players, but they get some kills. Getty gets one with the crossbow. Mezzo is going to get a backstab onto the Pyro, but I do think this is not looking too good for SDCK right now, and Feila have the high ground. They have control of this third point.
Oh, the chase is on for Satan, trying to find long-range direct hits onto Degu. Can't manage it. I mean, that crumbled there for SDCK just because they didn't have the players they needed with Yahoo getting dropped and Murphy not in the fight. That post-Uber was always going to be a disaster for them. Joe going really, really deep trying to find Degu, but Degu's such a skilled technical medic that he does manage to find the Dukes crucially at the last second. It's so scary when Joe goes into that kind of famed Joe zone when he's going deep for you, but Degu more than a match for him.
Yeah, 435 is pretty reminiscent of SDCK's pushing on the first round there, and they do actually have a little bit of an edge. 100%, Getty's only at 90%, but I don't think these slim advantages are being noticed. They are going to come in with the Uber. SDCK using it much, much later. They don't have the poker stopping power, but Mezzo comes in behind against Joe and Layla. I don't know how that happens after an Uber, but it does, and SDCK just kind of resort back to normality, and this is what we saw happening to Feila the other way around, and SDCK struggling to push the last point. So we'll have to see whether Feila are actually going to be able to capture the last point today on Borneo. They have to come up with some ideas, and they're just getting pressured from all angles here, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, really Yahoo was kind of the key figure in that Uber. He just completely separated Layla from both of the potential heal targets. They both went in different directions anyway, but Yahoo's air blast was such on-point, brilliant positioning as we often see from him. Let's say the banner is going to come out against battalions for Jackie Legs. Going in for a little bit of a bomb. So many players bunched up, really, really weak on this flank area, and the cleanup comes in. In fact, May gets the cleanup onto Layla with bleed damage.
Yeah, it's never fun as a medic when you're bleeding to death and you just know it's going to happen and there's no way you can speed it up. 100% forget it. He's just chilling. He's just chilling close to the spawn, giving Proki a buff, giving Murphy a buff, just letting them do the work and staying in a position where he's not going to get killed. And Feila just haven't been close to him. They just cannot seem to get an angle, get close enough to get the force. And at the moment, it's SDCK who have all of the answers. Feila just aren't asking the right questions.
Yeah, they're also plotting very, very close here. Like, so many players are far forward for SDCK, but Deku's not really with them to use the Uber if needed. Murphy does pick up Joe. That was really crucial. Joe could have got so much damage down onto those players that didn't have the heal beam on them. But we see Feila that they're not going for anything absolutely like crazy committed. And in fact, Layla's run all the way back with Grip, almost back towards the third point. They're really, really worried about a potential offensive Uber coming out from SDCK.
Yeah, I feel like they had the right idea in the first round when they went the crits. They tried to mix it up a little bit. At this moment in time, when you've struggled this much with a certain point, you need to start throwing caution to the wind and start doing different things. As Jackie just kills himself, somehow. I don't know how that happened. And the Uber Force does come in eventually. Geddy, who's had that charge for quite some time, does have to use. Layla drops to Mezzo's pistol.
Wow, I didn't see that. I mean, chaos was just going on everywhere. The force came in, the cart was moved to the absolute brink of being tipped into that kind of decisive pit. The force came in, all the players from Feila seemed to just leave, but Layla was cleaned up by Mezzo. Obviously didn't have the pyro who'd got in for the force wasn't there to protect Layla from the spy, and now we see Mezzo get in position, not pick up Layla this time, but does pick up Grip and Joe, and Layla goes down to Porky.
Okay. So I said throw caution to the wind. Feila did it. They got the force, but do kind of need to protect your medic as well. And if you're about to drop, maybe use the Uber instead of dying to the Lutronja. I'm not really sure what the answer for Feila is right now. The round's timer still has 5 minutes left, so it's not like we're going to be imminently stuck at a 3rd point hold, but they need to start doing something different. It looks like they want to do a dry push here. Actually, they're taking the far side, getting on the damage. They get the force on to get him as well. Joe is weak, but he's backing up. He's staying alive. And Layla is on fire, but she's also staying alive. No Mezzo in sight, so they can breathe.
Now.
Oh.
There we go. Mezzo picking up Layla again.
The man, he's like Usain Bolt. I saw him too far away. I was like, he's not going to make the ground. He's not going to get. As I say it, he sprints over there and gets the stab. Okay. Well, yeah. Clark is dead. So no, they're on a mini sentry. Clark is dead. Feila can. I'm going to stop talking. Every time I talk, Dave, Layla dies to Mezzo. So.
Okay,
I don't know. I'm just gonna have a drink. I'm gonna take a vow of silence for a little bit. You can just tell everyone what's happening.
Okay, so yeah, what we're seeing here, a little bit of aggression from Feila. They're trying to get in through this flank area. The cart has rolled back quite a long way. It's still rolling right now. Axia's gonna have to decloak just to reset. Very smart spy play you often see. Wumba and Satan are both going to get picked up on the flank. There's a little bit of aggression here, through this kind of left side, but so much damage down onto the Feila combo. They're really committed. They're staying in really deep. They're feeling it's desperate, but so many players down. And Layla, is she going to get? I know Jackie Legs is chasing, picks up Kuroi, but Layla will probably just about escape. It looks like.
I didn't want to say anything because you said just about escape, and I thought as soon as I open my mouth, she's going to get killed. But no, she does look relatively safe right now. Has a lot of players for company. And Poker and Clark are dead. So those are two very strong defensive classes out of action. Genu still does have the 100% Uber. Froki is watching the cross, but is actually going to get rushed by PB of all players. And there we go, the force comes in. There's only 3 players left alive for SDCK right now. Feila used the Uber on the high ground on the spawn. SDCK have to hope that they spawn to come in and get something done. Kuroi is going to go down. Grip, Wamba also going down for Feila, but Satan is on the cart and he pushes it in. 11-21. They finally managed to capture this last point. But I dare say the morale in the SDCK voice is much better than Feila's right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about Borneo, like 11-21, it's slow. It's definitely not beyond the realms of possibility of, Feila holding this. But as you say, morale can just kind of dip from your team like so quickly when you're just coming up against this kind of brick wall that is Borneo last, hitting your head against it again and again and again, and Mezzo just picking up Layla repeatedly. And it's what we saw in the E2F12 final, and finally it's what we're seeing here in UGC. And with Mezzo getting so many crucial picks onto Layla, it's really kind of up to that combo to just make a little bit of a change. Perhaps Grip just has to play a little bit more passive, or maybe BB is the one who has to play a little bit of babysit as well.
Yeah, I mean, Borneo is one of the longer maps, probably only second to Swiftwater, so longer times are maybe to be expected, but I always say on payload, if you're hitting double figures, you're not going to be very satisfied with the result. Especially after the fact that they won upwards so cleanly, and then they were they were 1-0 up on Lakeside. To be in this situation now, it's got to feel pretty bad, but Uber comes in from SDCK, exactly the same setup as before. Joe dies, the sentry actually gets withdrawn there. The pull-out game from Wamba, very strong, gets it out just before it gets destroyed there, and Layla still has her Uber, so decent enough push from SDCK, probably going to confirm the first point, but Feila will be happy with that. The fact that they managed to get their sentry out and their medic out with full charge.
Yeah, they still have the Uber, but they've lost all their big fragging classes. No Scout Soldier demo for them. Dickmann is trying to go for some kind of sneaky play. They do force the Uber out, losing a few players for it on SDCK's side, but there's no threat on Degu whatsoever. Nice and far back, and he's built up to 75%. It's going to be a large advantage. It's up to Feila now if they want to stick with this Jenkins area. They've got to worry about this Uber advantage, whether they want to play. They're very aggressive right now, but they do have to worry about the Uber.
Yeah, they don't have Proki either. Karoi was dead for a while, but it's been so long for them to get in a position here that he's back up, and Layla gets shanked by Mezzo. Murphy actually jumped so deep, he's basically behind them now, watching the retreat. Joe takes so much damage, down to 12 HP. Does stay alive though. Oh, no, he doesn't. Mate is going to be there, cleaning up and getting the kill. The sentry is still alive from Wamba. He's on a passive hold here, which is watching the cart, making it difficult for SDCK to actually get into any sort of position. And he's doing a good job, and BB is there to just lay some damage on the point as well. Almost gets him taken down. Proki though, taking down Koroi, may be the catalyst for SDCK start advancing.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you get that many frags traded, it's going to be good for the offensive side, but suddenly this team fight just seems to have got a little bit in Feila's favour. They're now in this weird transition. They're opting to go back into this kind of Jenkins hold, but Murphy is perhaps going to be there to meet them. He's going to get Stinkies up into the face of the Feila combo, and now we see Yahoo just holding W. Gets cleaned up just about. Nice defense there, but Joe goes so weak. Murphy just raining down damage.
Great there with the old 180 flick onto Mezzo, does take him down. Joe getting some kills as well. I mean, let's not forget, this second point hasn't been capped. Second point is pretty crucial on this map. I mean, obviously every point is crucial. You've got to cap them to win, but this second point does open things up in terms of a forward spawn for the attacking team. And there's so much space that is essentially free space before you get to third, and SDCK is struggling here. It's been about 3.5 minutes and they still haven't managed to capture this second point, but the Uber advantage for Gedu is going to be crucial here. They go in. Oh, Yahoo gets dropped out of the Uber, and a lot of players are dying for SDCK here. Gedu is very weak. He may get cleaned up, and they didn't really achieve anything there, Dave.
Yeah, very brave from Feila to stay in with that kind of big Uber disadvantage. They're going to see Poco taking a 1v1 with Joe. Oh my god! Such a big flank there from Jackie Legs. Joe and Layla stuck in a corner together, and Jackie Legs comes in, single direct hit, smashes them both. That's a huge play.
Absolutely massive. I mean, Gedu dies to Axio there, and Axio is going to be like, hey, I got the medic, that's pretty good. It's going to really help my team, but then Jackie's like, I'm going to do you one better and take out the entire combo. This sentry has been doing so much work from Wamba. He's just wrangling it, it's going to get gunned down, surely he has to pull it out and move it, and so many players are dying now. Eventually the sentry will get cleaned up. Joe also died to Proki there, and finally this second hold has been broken by SDCK, and with the way that they're going, they could just roll this onto third. They have the Uber advantage. Wamba is weak, doesn't have his sentry up. Feila just aren't in a position to hold on to this point.
They just don't have enough players to really attempt any kind of hold. You can see the high ground, as we say, so crucial. This point is already up there. BB is going to contest, he is going to pick up Murphy's. Now got to worry about a mini sentry. But in fact, just off that play from BB, that's so huge. You see the Feila combo take complete control now of the upper area. Great smart repush from them. Beautiful play there from BB, just so important.
Yeah, it does look like Feila are thinking about, reflect kill and May kills Wamba as he's carrying his sentry. So that he's going to take that down. Satan dies to a reflect rocket. Layla gets forced. She's down to 60 HP using that Uber. It's going to be Grip jumping forward to try and salvage something out of this. Does get the force, using it on Murphy. I'm not sure if that was even necessary, but keeping his players alive is better to be safe than sorry, I always say. But they're just pushing this cart. Just over 5 minutes to go. Feila have been doing a really good job in on this defense in buying time, but it's not looking great for them right now. They're trying to hold from the low ground. Poker is pushing the cart. He has that cart as cover, giving him ammo, giving him HP. He's still pushing, and they will get it done. And is it going to be a 3.5 hold here? Dave, no, it's straight to last.
Yeah, straight to last. Now see Bezo trying to go something, but does get backstabbed himself by Axio. So all the players you want really on Feila, all 9 players, are going to be up in this last hold. It's going to be an even slight Uber advantage as well because of how late Degu did use that Uber. It's going to be difficult to do anything with it from a defensive side. But, interesting thing, from the first round, we didn't really see SDCK able to break this hold at all. They did that kind of mystery kind of sneak cap. So, obviously Feila have to adjust in terms of playing the cap time a little bit better to denying it. And in fact, we see really strange play there from SDCK, opted to go in through the flank and getting cleaned up off Uber, looks like.
Yeah, they didn't have charge. They were just pushing, maybe trying to get aggressive, get a position where they can Uber onto the spawn. The thing I was watching is that Maze managed to get the cart all the way up to the 2 pillars, which is quite a distance past the tunnel. So now this is the opportunity for them to get the cap time while there's distraction plays going on. Mate runs in, but there's sticky traps. Joe is almost exclusively focusing on the cart right now. And the cart starts to roll back. So SDCK have to deal with the fact that Layla has a full Uber. There is a level 3 sentry watching the cart. And they're pretty comfortable in just chilling here and waiting for any pressure to come their way.
This hold looks pretty solid right now from Feila. Like, obviously Joe doesn't have to worry about that right side entrance. If he's got the sniper watching it, if he's got Pyro nearby, and obviously Dick Source just playing that little stair area to complete perfection in the previous rounds. Not very much cap time coming in here, but Porky does pick up Koroi, which does give them options now for SDCK.
Yeah, Koroi down gives more space for Proky, and he's going to use that space to take down Dixos. And Jackie Legs, with that direct hit, takes down Wamba. The sentry will get cleaned up as the Ubers are exchanged with 4 players down for Feila. It's going to be difficult for them to get any pressure. Layla gets cleaned up. There's a lot of players on the cart. The rest of the Feila players have to spawn and jump onto the cart. There's 3 of them. Joe, Dixos, Wamba, they're all there, but they're getting cleaned up. Clark and Proky are on the cart right now. It's only a matter of time. And the cart will roll in. And SDCK are going to be UGC Platinum Champions once again, taking Borneo 2-0 in a reverse sweep of this grand final.
Yeah, well played to them.
The big number that jumps out to me there, Dave, and I'm sure as a medic main you've looked at it too, it's the difference in the medic deaths. Gedu there dies 7 times, Layla dies 20, almost 3 times the amount, and it was pretty equal on the first 2 maps. But totally off balance on this final map. UGC champions again. I'm not sure how many numbers that is now, but SDCK do retain their title.
Perhaps one of the greatest Highlander teams, well, certainly one of the greatest Highlander teams of all time, perhaps the greatest, at least online. I know your LAN performances, particularly CJ, on Strong Opinions, are impressive. SDCK, worthy winners.
Just out of interest, I took a look at the combined logs across all 3 maps. Koroi got 117 kills, BB got 113, and Joe got 113 as well. But I'm going to stop talking about numbers. I'm going to start leading us towards the end. Dave, thank you so much for joining me for the cast. It's been a pleasure as always. And I've had a great time casting this. Thank you very much to both of the teams. SDCK, congratulations for another title win. Feila eSports, commiserations. Better luck next time. Big thanks to Wiethoofd for doing all the production in the background. You can check out our social media as well. Check us out on Discord, on Twitter. if you want to see any more games. We will have, of course, more games in the future. There is plenty of TF2 action always to be covered, and we'll be there to try and cover it as best as possible. Most of all, thanks to you guys for watching. I hope you had a great time and have a very pleasant evening.
Hi, old beaver! Away!